The leather chair creaks beneath me as I shift uncomfortably, watching Mr. Thompson arrange papers on his mahogany desk with painful precision. The envelope marked "The Secret Garden" sits untouched between us, mocking me with its presence. My sister Vanessa stands by the window, her designer heels clicking against the hardwood floor in an impatient rhythm. "Can we speed this up?" she asks, checking her phone. "I have 3 property showings this afternoon. I'm Amelia, and I've spent the last 15 years trying to prove I'm nothing like my sister." While she chases commission checks in corner offices, I've found peace among dusty shelves and dog-eared pages at the local library. But today, in this moment, we're forced to be family again. "Your great-aunt Eleanor's will is quite specific," Mr. Thompson says, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "The estate must be divided according to her exact instructions." Vanessa scoffs. "What's there to divide? That old house is falling apart, and her book collection belongs in a dumpster." My fingers dig into the armrests. Every summer spent in that house. Every story Aunt Eleanor read to me while Vanessa was too busy with her friends, they flash through my mind like scenes from a beloved film. "Actually," Mr. Thompson interjects, "the house has been appraised at significant value, given its historical status and location." Vanessa straightens, suddenly interested. I recognize that predatory gleam in her eyes, the same look she had when she convinced our parents to sell their vacation cabin for her startup investment. "The property goes to both of you, jointly," he continues. "However, there's a condition." He slides the mysterious envelope across the desk. My name is written in Aunt Eleanor's elegant script. "This is for you alone, Amelia." Your aunt was quite insistent about that. Vanessa's heels stop clicking. "What? That's not fair. We're supposed to split everything equally." My hands tremble as I break the seal. Inside, I find a single sheet of paper and what appears to be an old map. "My dearest Amelia," I read silently, "you alone understood the true value of stories. In our house, there are treasures hidden between pages and behind walls. Follow the map, but trust your heart. Some things are worth more than money. And some secrets can tear a family apart." "Well?" Vanessa demands. "What does it say?" I fold the letter carefully, tucking it into my pocket. "Just some personal memories." "Bullshit." She strides to the desk, towering over me. "Show me." "Ladies," Mr. Thompson interrupts, "there's more to discuss." "The distribution of assets?" "I don't care about the rest," Vanessa snaps. "What's in that envelope, Amelia? What did she give you that she didn't give me?" I meet her gaze, seeing not my successful sister but the girl who always had to win, who always had to have more. "Maybe she knew you'd never appreciate it." Her face flushes. "You think you were her favorite? You think hiding in that musty library makes you special? Wake up, Amelia. Everything has a price." "Not everything," I whisper. "We'll see about that." She grabs her designer bag. "I want a full property inspection tomorrow. And I'm bringing my own appraiser for those precious books you love so much." After she storms out, Mr. Thompson clears his throat. "Your aunt suspected this might happen. There's something else you should know." He reaches into his desk drawer, and my heart pounds. Whatever Aunt Eleanor hidden in that house, whatever secrets that map leads to, I know now I'm not just protecting her legacy. I'm fighting for everything she believed in, everything she trusted me to preserve. And my sister, with her sharp heels and sharper ambitions, has just declared war. The key sticks in the old lock, just like it always has. 3 jiggles to the left, 1 sharp push up. Aunt Eleanor's Victorian looms before me, its gabled windows watching like stern eyes. Behind me, Vanessa's BMW purrs in the driveway, a sleek intruder in this peaceful neighborhood. "This place is worse than I remembered," she says, slamming her car door. "The paint's peeling, the porch is sagging, we'll need to gut it completely." I push the front door open, breathing in the familiar scent of lemon polish and old books. Everything is exactly as Aunt Eleanor left it, the grandfather clock still marking time in the hallway. Her reading chair positioned by the bay window, shelves of leather-bound books lining every wall. Look at these hardwood floors, Vanessa circles the room like a shark. At least those are salvageable. We could get 30% more if we stage it right. We're not selling. She laughs, the sound sharp as breaking glass. Don't be naive, Amelia. This house is worth a fortune in the right market. I already have 3 developers interested. I climb the stairs, running my hand along the banister where Aunt Eleanor carved our initials when we were kids. Mine neat and careful, Vanessa's deep and aggressive, scarring the wood. Where are you going? She follows me up. We need to document everything for the appraisal. The attic door creaks open, dust motes dancing in the afternoon light. This was my sanctuary during childhood summers, where I'd hide with a book while Vanessa played social queen at the country club. What's that? Vanessa points to a trunk I don't remember, tucked beneath the eaves. My heart races as I approach it. The map from the envelope burns in my pocket, its markings suggesting something hidden in this very spot. But Vanessa's watching, hungry for secrets. Probably just old clothes, I say, moving to block her view. She pushes past me, designer heels leaving dents in the ancient floorboards. Since when are you the authority on what's valuable? I'm the one who actually made something of herself. Is that what you call it? Tearing down historic homes for luxury condos? At least I don't hide from reality in fairy tales. She yanks the trunk open, pawing through its contents. Face it, Amelia. You're just like this house, stuck in the past, slowly falling apart. I spot something beneath her frenzied searching, a leather-bound journal, its edges gilt with gold. Before she can see it, I knock over a stack of boxes, sending her jumping back to protect her expensive outfit. God, you're still so clumsy, she sneers, brushing dust from her blazer. I'm calling my contractor. This place needs a professional evaluation. While she storms downstairs, phone already pressed to her ear, I retrieve the journal with trembling hands. Inside, Aunt Eleanor's elegant script fills page after page. One entry catches my eye. My dearest girls, so different yet so alike in their hunger. One starves for success, the other for understanding. But only one knows the true worth of what I'll leave behind. Amelia. Vanessa's voice cuts through my reading. The realtor's coming in an hour. Either help document everything for the sale, or get out of the way. I close the journal, sliding it into my bag. Whatever Aunt Eleanor hid in this house, whatever the map leads to, I can't let Vanessa find it first. She'd sell our history piece by piece without a second thought. Coming, I call down, but my voice catches as I spot something else in the trunk, a small key. Attached to a ribbon marked with a familiar symbol, the same one that appears on the map. Footsteps thunder up the stairs. I pocket the key just as Vanessa reappears, her face flushed with triumph. Good news, she announces. The developer's offering 20% above market value, sight unseen. We can close by the end of the month. I meet her gaze, steel entering my voice. You'll have to kill me first. Her smile doesn't waver, but something cold flickers in her eyes. Don't tempt me, little sister. Don't tempt me at all. Oliver's bookshop smells of leather and secrets, dusty sunlight streaming through grimy windows. I spread Aunt Eleanor's map across his workbench, the key burning in my pocket like a hot coal. These markings, Oliver adjusts his reading glasses, they're not just random symbols. They're catalog numbers, old ones. From before the decimal system. Can you decode them? He traces the faded ink with weathered fingers. Your aunt was clever. She's hidden something in plain sight, using her own cataloging system. But look here, he points to a series of numbers. These correspond to rare first editions. Valuable ones. The bell above the shop door chimes. I freeze at the sound of familiar heels clicking across hardwood. Well, isn't this cozy? Vanessa's voice drips honey-coated venom. Having a little book club meeting? I snatch the map, but not before she glimpses it. Her eyes narrow. So that's what was in the envelope. A treasure map? How quaint. Oliver steps between us. Miss Reed, this is a private consultation. Private? She laughs. Nothing about our inheritance is private. In fact, I just spoke with my lawyer. Any assets discovered in the house belong to both of us equally. My fingers curl around the map. The letter was addressed to me. The letter, yes. But whatever it leads to. That's joint property. She pulls out her phone. Shall I call him? Have him explain it in legal terms you can understand? Oliver clears his throat. Actually, I've been meaning to show Amelia something in the back room. If you'll excuse us. Of course, Vanessa smiles. Take your time. I'll just browse. In the storage room, Oliver pulls a leather-bound volume from a locked cabinet. Your aunt brought this to me for appraisal last year. I think you should see it. The book's cover bears no title, but when I open it, my breath catches. Inside are handwritten notes, detailed descriptions of rare books and their locations. Aunt Eleanor's private catalog. Some of these books, Oliver whispers, they're worth. A crash from the shop interrupts him. We rush out to find Vanessa standing over a toppled display, books scattered across the floor. Oops, she says. How clumsy of me. Just like you always were, Amelia. I help Oliver gather the fallen books, my hands shaking with rage. What do you want, Vanessa? The truth. Whatever Aunt Eleanor left, whatever game she's playing, I want my share. You think I don't know what she was hiding? Those first editions, the rare manuscripts? Oliver stiffens beside me. I realize too late, she's been investigating on her own. You always were her favorite, Vanessa continues. Poor, bookish Amelia, living in her fantasy world. But I'm not leaving empty-handed this time. She reaches for the catalog in my hands. I pull back, but she's faster, stronger. The book tears between us, pages fluttering like wounded birds. Stop. Oliver shouts, but Vanessa's already reading the exposed pages, her face transforming with triumph. I knew it, she breathes. Hidden compartments, secret collections, she was sitting on a fortune. And you thought you could keep it all for yourself? That's not what this is about. It's always about the money, little sister. Everything is. And now? She holds up her phone, showing a court order. I have permission to inventory everything in that house. Every book, every shelf, every hidden corner. My voice breaks. You can't. Watch me. She tosses the torn catalog at my feet. You have until tomorrow morning. Either we split everything 50-50, or I bring in a team to tear that house apart piece by piece. After she leaves, Oliver helps me gather the scattered pages. There might be a way, he says quietly. Your aunt left something else with me, something Vanessa doesn't know about. I look up, hope flickering like a candle in the dark. But you have to decide quickly, he continues. And once you start down this path, there's no going back. Through the shop window, I watch Vanessa slide into her BMW, victory written in every line of her body. The key in my pocket seems to pulse with possibility. Show me, I say. The box Oliver hands me is small, barely larger than a paperback. Inside, nestled in faded velvet, lies a single key and a letter dated 3 days before Aunt Eleanor's death. She made me swear to wait, Oliver says. Until the right moment. Before I can open it, Mrs. Parker appears in the doorway of the bookshop, her face ashen. Amelia, dear, you need to come quickly. Your sister's people are already at the house. My heart stops. But she said tomorrow morning. She lied. I clutch the box to my chest and run. 3 blocks later, I round the corner to find moving trucks parked in front of Aunt Eleanor's house. Men in uniforms are carrying out boxes of books while Vanessa supervises from the porch, clipboard in hand. You said I had until morning. I shout, pushing past the workers. I say a lot of things. She doesn't look up from her clipboard. But time is money, and you're costing me both. Inside, they're methodically stripping the shelves. Centuries of collected knowledge, family histories, precious first editions, all being packed away like common cargo. Stop, I command, but my voice shakes. These books aren't just merchandise. They're worth a fortune to the right buyers. Vanessa finally meets my eyes. Did you think I wouldn't do my research? Wouldn't find out about the Austen first editions? The signed Dickens? The medieval manuscripts? My fingers tighten around Eleanor's box. How did you? Amazing what people will tell you when you wave enough money at them. Your friend Oliver isn't as loyal as you think. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. But something doesn't add up. Oliver gave me the box, warned me. Oh, don't look so shocked, Vanessa continues. Everyone has a price. Even dear, sweet Oliver. Though I must admit, he held out longer than most. A worker approaches with a leather-bound volume. Found this behind the false panel, ma'am. Like you said. My blood runs cold. The secret compartment, she knows about that too. Careful with that one, she instructs. It's worth more than you'll make in a year. I retreat to the study, my sanctuary, only to find more workers dismantling the built-in shelves. The room where Aunt Eleanor taught me to read, where she shared her most precious books. The letter in the box burns against my chest. With trembling hands, I break the seal. My dearest Amelia. If you're reading this, then Vanessa has shown her true colors. The key isn't for the books, it's for something far more valuable. Something she can never take away. A crash from the library interrupts my reading. I rush out to find a worker on the floor, surrounded by fallen books. But it's what's exposed behind the collapsed shelving that makes my heart race, a door, small and ancient, with a keyhole that matches the one in my hand. Get up, you idiot, Vanessa snaps at the worker. Those books are, she stops, seeing what I see. Our eyes meet across the chaos. For a moment, we're children again, racing to be first, to win, to possess. Whatever's behind that door, she says softly, dangerously, it belongs to both of us. I back away, the key clutched in my fist. No. Aunt Eleanor knew exactly what you'd do with it. That's why she chose me. Chose you? She laughs, but there's something broken in the sound. She pitied you. Poor little Amelia, always hiding in her books because the real world was too hard. She signals to her workers. Take down that wall. Whatever's behind it. You can't. The words tear from my throat. This house, these books, they're not just things to sell. They're our history, our family's soul. Family? Vanessa's face twists. Family is just another word for chains. But money? Money sets you free. As her workers advance on the hidden door with crowbars, I make my choice. The key fits perfectly in my palm, like it was made for this moment. Like Aunt Eleanor knew exactly what would happen, and exactly what I would need to do. Behind the hidden door lay not treasure, but truth. Aunt Eleanor's private study, a room I never knew existed, contains floor-to-ceiling shelves of leather-bound journals. Her entire life, documented in careful script. And there, on a simple wooden desk, sits a single volume marked for Amelia, when the time comes. 3 months later, Pages of the Past opens its doors. I've transformed Aunt Eleanor's collection into something she would have loved, a bookstore where every volume tells a story beyond its pages. The journals revealed everything: rare book contacts, auction house connections, even detailed restoration techniques. "You've done something remarkable here," Mrs. Parker says, running her fingers along a shelf of first editions. "Eleanor would be proud." The bell above the door chimes. My smile fades as a man in an expensive suit enters, carrying a briefcase. "Miss Johnson?" He extends a business card. "I represent Reed Development Corporation. My sister's company." "Of course. We're not interested in selling," I say automatically. He smiles, shark-like. "I'm not here about the building. I'm here about the books." He opens his briefcase, revealing documents with familiar letterheads. "Your sister has proof that several volumes in your collection were obtained through questionable means." My blood runs cold. The auction records from Eleanor's journals. Vanessa must have found copies. These books were legally inherited. Were they? He slides a paper across the counter. "Because according to these records, some of them were sold years ago. To private collectors." I remember Eleanor's notes about reacquiring certain volumes, but she never explained how. "Your sister is prepared to overlook these discrepancies," he continues, "in exchange for certain considerations." The bell chimes again. Oliver enters, freezing when he sees the lawyer. "Amelia, don't." "Mr. Bennett," the lawyer interrupts. "How interesting. We were just discussing provenance." Oliver's face pales. I realize with sickening clarity, he knew. He knew about the questionable acquisitions all along. "Get out," I tell the lawyer. "Both of you." After they leave, I lock the door and sink to the floor, surrounded by books that might not rightfully be mine. Mrs. Parker kneels beside me. "There's something you should know," she says quietly. "About Vanessa. About why Eleanor chose you." She pulls a worn envelope from her purse. "Your aunt gave me this, made me promise to wait until you needed to understand." Inside is a newspaper clipping from 20 years ago. A scandal involving rare book theft, a wealthy family's collection decimated. And there, in grainy black and white, a teenage Vanessa being led from the scene. "Eleanor covered it up," Mrs. Parker explains. "Paid for everything to disappear. But she never forgot what Vanessa was capable of." My phone buzzes, a text from Vanessa. "Tick-tock, little sister. Time to decide, share the profits, or lose everything." I look around at the store I've built, the legacy I thought I was protecting. Every book holds memories, stories within stories. But how many of them are stained with secrets? The door rattles, someone trying to enter despite the closed sign. Through the glass, I see him, the same man who's been watching the store all week. But this time, he's not alone. "Mrs. Parker," I whisper, "call the police." "They won't come in time," she says, her voice strange. "They never do." I turn to her, confused, and see her staring at the men outside with something like recognition. "How do you?" "Because," she says softly, "they're the same ones Vanessa hired 20 years ago. The ones who helped her steal those books in the first place." The lock clicks, they have a key. As the door swings open, I realize this was never about inheritance or family legacy. This is about finishing what Vanessa started 2 decades ago. And I've just walked into her perfect revenge. The smoke rises black against the evening sky, carrying the ashes of 100 years of stories. I stand across the street from pages of the past, watching flames devour everything I've built. Everything Aunt Eleanor trusted me to protect. "Miss Johnson?" A firefighter approaches. We manage to contain the blaze to the main floor, but the rare books section? My voice sounds strange, distant. He shakes his head. "I'm sorry. The fire started there. Accelerant used." Of course it did. The most valuable books, the ones that could have proven Vanessa's past crimes, gone. Just like she planned. Mrs. Parker clutches my arm. "Amelia, look." Through the crowd of onlookers, I spot a familiar figure. Oliver, watching from the shadows, his face illuminated by the flames. Our eyes meet. He turns to leave, but I'm faster. You helped her do this, didn't you? He doesn't deny it. She has evidence that could ruin me. The books I helped acquire for your aunt. The methods weren't always legal. So you chose to burn everything instead? I tried to warn you. Save it. I step back, the betrayal burning hotter than the flames. You're just like her. Everything's a transaction. My phone buzzes, Vanessa, such a tragedy. Insurance should cover it. Of course, filing a claim might raise questions about the provenance of certain items. Another message follows, meet me at Aunt Eleanor's house. Time to end this. Don't go, Mrs. Parker pleads. Call the police. With what proof? The security cameras melted in the fire. The books that could have exposed Vanessa's past are ash. She's won. The drive to Eleanor's house feels like a funeral procession. When I arrive, Vanessa stands on the porch, silhouetted by security lights. I have to admit, she says as I approach, you lasted longer than I expected. Why? The question burns in my throat. We're family. She laughs. Family? Is that what you call it when Eleanor chose you over me? When she gave you everything I worked for? Worked for? You stole. I took what I deserved. Her composure cracks. While you were playing librarian, I was building something real. But Eleanor never saw that. She only saw what she wanted to see, her precious, perfect Amelia. She pulls out an envelope. Sign these papers. Transfer everything to me. Or I'll make sure everyone knows about the stolen books, yours and Oliver's. They're gone now anyway, I say. You made sure of that. Not all of them. She smiles, cold and triumphant. Check the basement. My heart stops. The hidden room behind the wine cellar, where Eleanor kept her most precious volumes. How did you? Amazing what people remember when properly motivated. The contractor who built it was quite helpful. I see it now, the perfect trap. The fire was just a distraction. The real treasure was here all along, waiting to be claimed. You have until morning, she says, holding out a pen. Sign, or I call the authorities. Your choice. As I take the pen, something falls from my pocket, Eleanor's final journal, the one I've carried since finding her secret study. It falls open to a page I haven't read, written in shaking script. My dearest Amelia, if you're reading this, then Vanessa has played her final hand. But remember, in chess, the queen's gambit requires sacrificing a piece to gain position. I look up at my sister, seeing not the successful businesswoman, but the scared teenager who thought stealing books would win our aunt's approval. You're right, I say quietly. It's time to end this. I strike a match, one taken from the box the arsonist left behind, found by the firefighters. Vanessa's eyes widen. What are you doing? What Eleanor taught me. I let the flame dance between us. Sometimes, to save a story, you have to burn the page and start again. Behind me, the house that holds our history, our secrets, our inheritance, waits in silence. And I finally understand what my aunt's last lesson was meant to teach me. Some fires destroy. Others cleanse. The basement air reeks of smoke and gasoline. Vanessa stands between me and the hidden door, her designer outfit incongruous against the rough stone walls. You wouldn't dare, she says, but her voice wavers. Those books are worth millions. I hold the match higher. That's all they ever were to you, weren't they? Numbers on a page. While you saw what? Magic? Dreams? She laughs, but it sounds hollow. Wake up, Amelia. Dreams don't pay bills. Dreams don't build empires. No, they just build people. A noise upstairs makes us both jump. Footsteps, then Mrs. Parker's voice, "Amelia? The police are here." Vanessa's composure cracks. "You called them?" "No." I strike another match as the first burns my fingers. "But Aunt Eleanor did. 20 years ago." I pull out my phone, playing the security footage I recovered from the bookstore's cloud backup. Not of the fire, of the moment Vanessa's hired men entered the shop. The same men from the newspaper clipping. Facial recognition software is amazing these days, I say. Especially when you have friends at the library's digital archives. She lunges for the phone. I dodge, dropping the match. It catches on the accelerant she used earlier, creating a wall of flame between us. "You planned this," she realizes, backing away from the fire. "You wanted me here. I learned from the best." I pull out Eleanor's final journal. "You weren't the only one who kept records." The hidden door creaks open behind her. Oliver steps out, holding a stack of leather-bound books. "The real ones," he says, not meeting my eyes. "Like we discussed." Vanessa spins between us. "You betrayed me?" "He chose to make things right," I correct her. "Unlike you." The fire spreads, following the trail of accelerant to the stairs. Smoke fills the basement as heavy footsteps thunder above. "It's over, Vanessa. The police have Eleanor's original statement about the theft." "The evidence you thought you destroyed?" "She kept copies. Multiple copies." "You don't understand," she whispers, and for the first time, I hear real fear in her voice. "I had to prove I could be more. She always loved you best, always saw you as the worthy one. She loved us both." The words echo off the stone walls. "But you couldn't see it through your own bitterness. Everything was a competition, a transaction. Even family." The smoke thickens. Oliver heads for the stairs with the books, but Vanessa blocks his path. "Those are mine." She grabs for them, sending papers scattering. Among them, a photograph floats to the ground, 2 young girls in front of a Christmas tree, arms around each other, smiling without reservation. We both stare at it as flames lick the edges. "I remember that day," I say softly. "Before the books, before the competition. When we were just sisters." Vanessa reaches for the photo, her hand trembling. For a moment, I see that girl again, the one who used to read me bedtime stories, who taught me to ride a bike. Who slowly disappeared into someone I didn't recognize. "I never wanted," she starts, but smoke chokes off her words. The ceiling groans. Mrs. Parker shouts from above, "Get out. The floor's going to collapse." I grab Vanessa's arm. "Come on." She resists. "The books are just books." I pull harder. "But you're my sister." For a heartbeat, she stares at me like she's seeing me for the first time. Then the ceiling cracks. We run for the stairs as the basement fills with smoke and memory. Behind us, the hidden room collapses, burying its secrets forever. But as we emerge into the night air, gasping and soot-stained, I realize some things can't be buried. Some stories demand to be told, no matter the cost. And sometimes, the ending you fight so hard to avoid turns out to be the beginning you needed all along. The courthouse steps feel colder than they should in spring. I clutch Eleanor's final journal, its pages now evidence instead of inheritance. Beside me, Mrs. Parker squeezes my hand as Vanessa emerges with her lawyer. "The plea deal is generous," Mr. Thompson says quietly. "Considering the circumstances." Vanessa pauses at the top of the steps, her designer outfit replaced by something simpler, more honest. Our eyes meet across the distance. "Did you read it?" she asks, nodding toward the journal. "Not the last entry." I run my fingers over the worn leather. "It wasn't meant for me." She takes the book with trembling hands, opens to the final page. Her breath catches. "My dearest girls," she reads aloud, voice breaking. If you're reading this together, then the fire has done its work. Not the one that burns books, but the one that forges bonds. A tear splashes onto the page. She closes the journal, unable to continue. I found this in the basement ruins, I say, pulling out the smoke-damaged photograph from Christmas. Remember how you used to make up stories about my presents before I opened them? Better stories than what was actually inside. You always believed them. A ghost of a smile crosses her face. Even when they were impossible. Maybe that's what Eleanor saw in me. Not that I was better, just that I still believed in impossible things. The wind carries ash from the demolition site where our childhood home once stood. Soon, a community library will rise there instead. Not everything beautiful has to burn. The rare books we saved, Vanessa says. What will you do with them? Create a special collection. The Eleanor Wing. I pause. There's room for your name too, if you want it. She shakes her head. I don't deserve. It's not about deserving. It's about choosing. Like you chose to save me instead of the books. Oliver appears at the bottom of the steps, carrying a box of salvaged volumes. He's been helping catalog what survived, his own way of making amends. The restoration team found something, he says, holding out a charred book. Hidden in the spine of an old edition. It's a letter, written in Eleanor's hand, dated the day of the original theft 20 years ago. Not a condemnation, but a confession, how she saw Vanessa's pain, her desperate need to prove herself. And how her own rigid expectations had helped create the chasm between us. She knew, Vanessa whispers. All this time, she understood. She loved you enough to wait. For both of us to be ready. The courthouse clock chimes noon. Vanessa's lawyer gestures, it's time for her to go. Community service awaits, along with mandatory counseling. I'll never be you, she says suddenly. Never find peace in dusty pages or happy endings. No, I agree. You'll find your own story. She hands back the journal, then hesitates. That Christmas photo. Could I have a copy? Keep it. Some things are worth more than first editions. As she descends the steps, Mrs. Parker touches the worn cover of Eleanor's journal. Your aunt would be proud. Of both of you. I watch my sister's retreating figure, remembering the girl who taught me that stories could be magic. Maybe that girl isn't gone, just buried under years of wrong choices and missed chances. The demolition crew calls out a warning as another wall of our childhood home comes down. But this time, watching it fall doesn't hurt. Because now I understand what Eleanor knew all along, sometimes you have to let the old story crumble before you can write a new one. And sometimes, the most valuable things can't be bound in leather or priced at auction. They're written in the spaces between words, in the chapters we choose to revise. And in the courage to believe that even the most damaged stories can find their way to a different kind of ending. Not happily ever after. But honestly ever after. And maybe that's the better story anyway.